What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Lazarus and Dangerfield show. I am, as always, Clint Dangerfield, and with me this week seems to be my teenage son for some reason, Buck Lazarus.
Bucky Lazarus this week. I'm Bucky.
I'm not calling you Bucky. What is happening? What is going on right now?
Honestly,
I feel like I've gone back in time.
We have.
Because
your favorite film, Back to the Future.
It is my favorite film. But we're not doing Back to the Future. What are we going to do Back to the Future?
We are technically all grown up. Or you are.
Well, anyway. I have. Okay, this week we are going through the movies Big, Freaky Friday, and 17 Again. So all films involving either body swapping, growing up, or getting young.
Yeah.
In fact, 3 individual films about those subjects. They're not all the same.
They're not related at all, but at the same time, they kind of are.
They're kind of, whatever. It is what it is. So let's begin with 1988's Big with the legendary Tom Hanks. So I loved this film as a kid. Had you seen this film? I can't remember if you had or not.
I had never seen this film before.
Never seen, which is
what. Let's crack on with the plot, and then
Tom Hanks plays a 13. Well, Tom Hanks. Josh is a 13-year-old boy that has a crush on a girl, and basically they're at a fairground ride, and he's not tall enough to get on the fairground ride, and he's been embarrassed in front of this girl that he has a crush on. So he finds this Zoltar machine,
Zoltar,
and wishes that he could just be.
Where's my car?
He could just be big. He could basically be bigger. And the next morning, he wakes up as a 30-year-old man. As you do. So hilarity ensues with that, and that's basically it. He spends most of the movie as Tom Hanks, and goes out and gets a job and works in the big city and works for a big toy firm.
He navigates the world. He navigates the world as an adult, but
that's essentially it.
Lawyers should take a few days, give you a chance to find your way around. You smoke?
Well, just once, but only on breaks and in the coffee room.
So, with you not seeing this movie before, what did you think of it?
Well, first of all, for all my Dude Where's My Cars fans out there, Zoltar. I'm pretty sure that's the same thing. And obviously GTA, they have, if you have an arcade, if you play GTA Online, Lester is the Zoltar machine, or in the Zoltar is Ask Lester. So I think there's obviously Rockstar have nodded to this film, but I never picked up on this because I'd never seen this film. Now, it wasn't a film. It was a film I wanted to watch. It wasn't sort of just it was just one that it didn't happen, and then we just got to hear, and I'm so glad we did these films this week, because this film was awesome. I absolutely loved this film.
I'm so glad
it's old. Yeah. And for anyone who's going to say this is 1988, but it does. It's just such a great film. It's such a great story. It's so entertaining. Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. This is why he is the best. Sorry, look, I'm gonna say this, but after watching this film, and I've said about films where I've watched something truly great, and we talk about Scarface and Pacino and De Niro, and I'm gonna say that they are heavyweights. I genuinely think Tom Hanks could possibly be the best there is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's going to be loads of people we just plays the same role. But it was just brilliant. He acted this role.
This was him he just reached, I would say, the kind of the peak of his acting, and that's where he remained. And he's
Yeah.
Perfect.
It was just, I loved it. There was just, there was just so many things that also took me back to being a kid, and just stuff that I would say, like the sort of the new age, the new group of people who are at that age now, 13 or going into the world, they're missing out on this stuff. They were skateboarding, BMXing, which was just, I'm not saying people don't do that now, but it was just great to see that. And they were obviously, I thought this was a kids' film, which it really isn't as well, at all.
No.
So it was just funny. I was thinking as well, these kids are probably like 50 now, which is crazy when you think about it. But yeah, there's a lot of cliches in this. Obviously, thunderstorm. As soon as basically he makes his wish, this thunderstorm
rolls in. Yep.
We come to, I think of anything that happens like that when there's always a thunderstorm. There's always some meteorological event, isn't there?
His acting's amazing. Like when he wakes up and discovers he's a 30-year-old man, and then has to sneak out of his house.
He checks. Oh well. Before that, when he first wakes up and he's like looking in the mirror, he checks for Woody.
Always got to check these things. Always got to check. But yeah, he has to sneak out of the house because, how do you explain? But then he realizes he has to try and confront his mum, and his mum's terrified.
I love the fact that his mum talks to the police and she says, "He exposed his hiney to me." Just the fact that she used the word hiney.
And he looks scared. He looks terrified, and I really kind of appreciated that. He looked genuinely terrified and upset.
It must be. It must have been. Literally, this must be terrifying. Can you imagine navigating through New York at 13 years old, and you've got the pimps and the prostitutes and the drug dealers and the vagrants, and they're just like, I don't know.
As great as this movie is, if you think about it too much, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Like he gets a job, in a toy company, and he has no social security number. He just makes it up. He's got no references. He's just fortunate enough to get a job because someone else is rubbish at theirs. After a week, he gets made vice president of a department because he's just basically a kid, and adults don't understand how toys work or what's what kids want, and so you're just like, wow, that's quick. But it is the 80s, so I don't know, maybe that happened. Gets into a relationship with a woman, which surprised me when he eventually tells her that he's 13, and she finally believes him, that she doesn't immediately go, hold on a second, we had sex.
I was going to say, you played that down big time. Just that whole, so there's a love scene, and there's
there's a great love scene. Because it just, I think the whole scene's hilarious.
If you've ever seen Kevin and Perry Go Large, the film, they were based on TV characters. Anyway, Kevin is this angry teen, and when he gets laid for the first time, pops his cherry, he's suddenly the next day like, hello mother. Oh, he's no longer an angry teen, he's become a man, and he's like, oh, I've made you tea, how can I help you today? And everyone's like shocked by this behavior, and he no longer has a hat or any of this. He's wearing a nice shirt and this essentially happens to Tom Hanks. He sort of loses his youth, his innocence, doesn't he? He has all these toys and he's just a 13-year-old boy, but as soon as he macks it with this older woman, he's suddenly very, very serious.
Yep. And he kind of embraces being an adult, because certainly for the first half of the movie, he's an adult, and he's kind of working a job, and he still acts like a 13-year-old. He still acts like a kid.
I think for me, obviously, you probably haven't seen this a number of years, and for me, watching it the first time, everything just was a surprise. And I think there's definitely things you forget about. We forgot to mention John Hurt is in this, Macaulay Culkin's dad, and Home Alone, and John Lovitz, who doesn't
John
love
Lovitz, a brief role.
playing typical John Lovitz as well. He does actually, he just always plays this crazy weirdo loser, doesn't he? But he's brilliant at it. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
And you've also got
definitely would recommend it.
The very famous floor piano scene. They play chopsticks and I've been on that piano. I've been to that toy store, FAO Schwartz in New York. It's in a different area now. But I got to play on that little piano, which is very cool. And every kind of piano tune I knew completely went out of my head, so I looked like an idiot trying to dance on the thing. It's what I watched this loads as a kid, and I hadn't seen it for years.
This is not a kids movie, though. This is not a kids movie. Yeah,
it's an 80s PG.
I don't think it's a PG. I would definitely say this is more along the 12.
It would probably be a 12. Nowadays, it would be a 12. But back then, we didn't have that. We just had PG and then 15.
Would a 12-year-old want to watch this? Don't know.
I don't know.
Odd one.
I still think it's a great movie. I still really enjoyed this movie. It was very nostalgic for me, and it was still brilliant.
It was good. But it was a little bit freaky, but not as freaky as the next one, Freaky Friday.
Nice.
So, Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan.
So, yes, Freaky Friday from 2003 with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. Wow, what a movie. Okay, so Freaky Friday is just a remake of the
original Freaky Friday.
I was trying to think who was in the original. I can't remember her name. It was just a remake of the original Disney Freaky Friday from the 70s.
Yeah.
So we got Lindsay Lohan playing a very stereotypical early 2000s pop punk angry teenage girl, very Avril Lavigne-esque looking with terrible highlights. And Jamie Lee Curtis.
They were extensions.
Oh, I don't care what they were. They were shit.
They were falling out. That was why.
It was just awful. And Jamie Lee Curtis playing a psychiatrist mum who doesn't understand teenagers and is overworked and overlooks Lindsay Lohan all the time, doesn't understand her, and through a dinner at a Chinese restaurant and some fortune cookie event. There is a message which I can't remember what the message was. It's a stupid message.
Journey soon begins. Its prize reflected in another's eyes.
When what you see is what you lack,
then selfless love will change you back.
And they end up switching bodies, and you can imagine what happens then. The teenage daughter and the mum and the teenage daughter, and they somehow have to work out how to switch back before Jamie Lee Curtis gets married.
The message is the message is they have to find empathy with one another. I think that was essentially nuts.
Whatever.
So
as
you didn't enjoy this one, did
probably
you?
Tell. God damn, I did not enjoy this movie.
Do you know what? That was unfair. I did not mind this movie.
It annoyed me. It just everything about it just annoyed me.
Okay, well we'll come.
I've seen plenty of worse movies.
I will put a positive spin on it, and then you can add your negativity, Mr. Negative.
Whatever.
I've never seen this film. I'm not a massive fan of Jamie Lee Curtis. I know there are people who love Halloween, and I don't think she's a bad actress. You know, she's been in True Lies, and who doesn't love True Lies? She's been in numerous things. She always looks the same, and it bothers me. And so because she always looks the same, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. It's no one else. Do you know what I mean? I appreciate Bruce Willis has lost his hair, so there's not really a lot he can do about his look. But I guess even now, that's why he does a lot of straight-to-DVD stuff. People just eventually sort of become typecast if they become the same roles. And yeah, for me, it was just like, Jamie Lee Curtis again being Jamie Lee Curtis, but she's not bad, and she's not a bad actor. And Lindsay Lohan, this is where she started. She did, Herbie. She did Mean Girls. She did these kind of films, and I didn't hate her for her doing that either. They have a market. We've got Zac Efron coming up in a minute, and he started off with High School Musical, and he's done a lot of actually very entertaining films since sort of growing out of that. So I'm not going to hate on. This is where people hone their craft. So, but yes, it was a Disney film, and yes, I'm going to say this did feel old.
Yeah, very.
In comparison to Big. And there were just some awful Disney, really lazy writing parts of it. Like, basically, she's in like you said, this pop punk kind of band, and they're basically they're going to be in some big concert, and they call it the Wango Tango auditions.
Can I just chime in? Can I just chime in and just say, this film really annoyed me.
Yeah, I know. Do I say? I did. Look, I'm gonna agree that I found that Disney. I really did feel like Disney was scraping the bottom of the barrel with this, and there was just even with the whole fortune cookie. She called it Asian voodoo, which I kind of feel like is one of them things. Again, you probably couldn't get away with that now. Yes. But again, I didn't clock watch. I didn't mind any of it. She's got an annoying brother, and there's that back and forth. And to be honest, I actually found this film more engaging when they did switch. So I actually thought they performed each other's roles quite well. I found Jamie Lee Curtis really interesting to watch as meant to be playing the daughter, Lindsay Lohan. She had this relationship with Chad Michael Murray, and if you remember Chad Michael Murray, he was like a massive heartthrob in the early noughties.
That's who I started my look on. The long hair.
That is very evident. Well, no, I think he wasn't he in One Tree Hill. I can't. He was in one of them shows. I didn't watch them. But I know he's in one of them, and I know he's very popular at the time. But I didn't mind. They talk about real music. They talk about the bands they like, and that's fine. And I liked her back and it was funny watching Jamie Lee Curtis's back and forth with Chad Michael Murray, and even Lindsay Lohan meant to be playing like the mum, the Jamie Lee Curtis. I actually found their acting really. They were better when they were switched than when they were normal, and I thought their acting was good. So that's why I found it quite engaging. And they kept saying how they weren't going to tell anyone, so it was like how they would get exposed or how. And so I didn't mind this movie. It was a lot better than I thought it would be. So it's definitely not the worst film I've seen. It's never going to be a winner.
It's not the worst film I've seen. What
I would put it up there with Marksman.
What bugged me about it was, okay, you've got this. I'll be quick anyway. You've got this scenario where you swap. You swap bodies with your mum. You don't know what's happened. You don't know how to fix it. You're going to be stuck this way until you can fix it. Yeah. But neither one of them tries to act as so obviously Lindsay Lohan being in her mum's body, she doesn't try and act like an adult, or a mum being the teenager doesn't try and fit in with that role. She probably would in a real scenario. Okay, I'm stuck as a teenager. Okay, I'm not going to act as an adult whilst I'm at high school. Because that's just going to be weird, and it's just need to try and fit in. And the same with Lindsay Lohan. You're like, come on, your mum's a fairly well-known psychiatrist. Try and act a little bit more.
No, I completely agree with you there. No, you are on point there. I agree with you, because obviously there's a part when Lindsay Lohan is basically has to do the talk show as a mum, and her mum is talking about
she acts like a teenager, and it's like, oh, come on.
And all right, they find her entertaining, but at the same time I'm just like, if that was my parents, I would be at least trying to seek advice from my soon-to-be husband, I'm nervous, can you just prep me through this?
I don't remember reading any of this in your book. Hello! It's called Reading Between
you know, but I think again they acted it well. Just like you said, when I said Disney scraping the bottom of the barrel, it was. I just think it's not a bad story. I just think it was terrible writing. And I think they did the best with the material they had, and I think that's the unfortunate thing.
Oh, it looks cool.
Oh, don't start with me. And those clothes are going back first thing tomorrow.
Why? Everyone likes them. You look great.
I look like Stevie Nicks.
Who's he?
But I'm sure if we could be teenagers again, I'm sure
We'd
that
look
we would
like
go back
this.
to be 17 again. Yes, that's right. It's time
Excellent.
to move on. Thank you.
So you haven't seen this film, have you?
I've never seen it.
So good.
Never
All right.
seen it.
So I will give you the plot. Basically, if it's not evident, Mike O'Donnell, played by Matthew Perry, is a high school basketball star with a bright future, but he basically throws it all away when he finds out his girlfriend is pregnant. He basically, we come fast forward 20 years later, and he's now separated from his girlfriend stroke now wife, and miserable in life, and feels like he's basically been dealt a bad hand, and it was all because he threw away his chance by basically throwing away his life to raise kids. Anyway, he gets the opportunity to go back and miraculously turns into a teenager, played by Zac Efron, and he's given the chance to fix his past. That's essentially it. So,
That's it. That is it.
yeah, that is it. But what did you think?
Wow. I mean, every movie should start off with a sweaty, topless Zac Efron playing basketball.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
of course, yeah.
That's how Saving Private Ryan should have started that way as well.
Didn't Baywatch start that way?
I've still not seen Baywatch.
No,
But anyway,
Bad Neighbours. I don't know.
oh god, I can't remember Bad Neighbours. Anyway, I really enjoyed this movie. This was I watched this after Freaky Friday, so basically anything was going to be better. But
Catwoman.
No, but you never know. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I like the concept of it. I like that he didn't, obviously being a teenager again, but at high school and being at high school with your high school kids. And then learning that obviously it's not about him becoming a basketball star. It's him learning,
just going to college and making.
There's a bigger picture. There's a bigger thing at stake that he learns, which is brilliant. There's lots of very inappropriate stuff with his ex-wife whilst he's a teenager, which I did love that she recognized him immediately. As soon as she saw him, she's like, oh my god, you look exactly like my ex-husband.
Wow. You look just like my husband, doesn't he? My ex-husband? That is so weird.
Yeah.
He's like, oh well, I'm Uncle Ron's
touching his
the one you
face,
never see. But what I really enjoyed about it was everything Zac Efron was saying, all his lines. You could picture Matthew Perry saying. It was a very good script, I thought. Because you could see both of them doing it.
Yeah.
I loved his best friend. I can't remember what his best friend was called.
Thomas,
he was just
played by Thomas Lennon.
That's it.
So
Joey's
identical
hand twin again. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. It's just the kind of dorky
I told you they did The Odd Couple together, and I don't know if it was friends, but I think they're very good friends in real life, and I think this is possibly why they were in this movie together. I don't know if Matthew Perry put it.
But they just I enjoyed.
He stole the film. Don't get me wrong, Matthew Perry. But he did. He's just a scene stealer. He was so good. Such a great supporting character in this film.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. What about you?
I love this film, and I forgot how much I love this film. I often talk about my top 10 and things like that, and this isn't one I ever think about, but I remember loving this film. I think this is the third time I've seen it, and I'm so glad to see it again, because it's a wholesome story. It's, there's there's an innocence about it. And you look at the other two, they are very, very different films. It's a very different concept, but it is like that whole do-over. Wouldn't you want to have a do-over? Just be able to live your life again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we said, the message is, well, actually, it's not about.
It's not about him doing.
It's not about him. It's about him doing himself over as a person in order to become a better person for what his future is, his family and stuff like that. And it's just he's got the stupid things, just like in Freaky Friday, like one of these things when there's a change, there's the bad weather again. Just Freaky Friday is the earthquake, and we
signifies change.
And he goes home and he's basically covered in like all this mud and dirt and whatever, and jumps in the shower with his clothes on, and it's then when he looks in the mirror that he realizes he's young again. I'm thinking, didn't he drive home yet? Wouldn't he have checked in his real view mirror or something? He's like, wait, no, I don't know. But so there was laziness, but
also his best friend didn't recognize him.
No, exactly.
Which
is given
odd.
Hey, it's me, Michael Donald, best friend. Got you through it. You have an undescended testicle. Googleable.
We talked about Thomas Lennon, so I said best supporting character. He was just brilliant. So Thomas Lennon is basically he's grown up but hasn't grown up either, and I think that's what makes him so well. So Thomas Lennon he got bullied at school, didn't he?
He became super rich because he developed software that allowed you to.
Well, he stopped people from illegally downloading music, but he also developed software that helped to illegally download it. But that was a happy coincidence, as he said. But it was just like there were so many. He's a massive nerd. He was a nerd at school. He got bullied, and he's still a nerd. He sleeps in Luke Skywalker's speedster for crying out loud, which is the best bed I've ever seen in my life. He speaks Elvish. He has, you name it in his house, lightsabers and axes, and he's just a massive nerd. But he's just really funny, and he just has great lines, and he delivers them so well.
Has to play Zac Efron's dad to enroll him into school.
At school, yeah. We didn't talk about the cast, so we mentioned Zac Efron and Matthew Perry. Obviously, Matthew Perry is in at the beginning, and then obviously without spoiler alert at the end. And you got Zac Efron. You got Leslie Mann, who plays his wife, and she always kind of plays these kind of similar sort of roles. She's always in these kind of comedies, but I think I really liked her in this film. Actually, I think she was really good in it. And we've got Melora Hardin. I hope I'm saying that, but like Melora Hardin.
She's the one that plays Jen, in The Office.
From The Office, who completely different role, but again, she was she's in it, and she kind of has a little bit of the Jen, but she's a little bit softer. But this
is just a great movie. Just
good fun.
Yeah.
And I definitely would recommend anyone watching it.
What is this you're wearing? This is cool. This is hip. I have a picture of Kevin Federline wearing the exact same thing.
There we have it. So, what would be your top three?
Top three?
Well, you know what I mean. What order would you have?
Be my number? Right, I'm going to let you go first because I want to hear what you said first.
Number 5 will be Freaky Friday. Number 4 will be whatever Liam Neeson film you watched that I've not seen, but I just know it will be better than Freaky Friday. Number 3 will be The Ice Road.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm kind of inclined to go with 17 again for number 2,
sure,
and Big as number 1, but I think that's more for just kind of nostalgia winning.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoyed 17 again, I think I think Big, there was a lot of nostalgia for me, and that kind of pips it.
For me, So I'd agree with you on. No, I'm gonna leave the Liam Neeson aside. Freaky Friday was definitely 3, but I don't hate it as much as you did. It was definitely not the worst film we've seen since doing this, and not the worst film I've ever seen. I could watch this film again, and I mean that probably in a long time. Big I loved, and as I said, any of the, I didn't see every film in the 80s, so any film I revisit from the 80s and I watch and it has timeless effect, like Days of Thunder, example, I adore them. But I think I'm gonna have to do 17 again as my number 1. I just love this film.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's really underrated. I think it's,
I definitely enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, and I think the Zac Efron thing. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I think this was one of his first kind of breakaway roles from the High School Movie when he was. So there were probably a lot of people who didn't want to see it because they're like, oh, it's High School Musical, it's Zac Efron. He was a bit of a Bieber, but he was great, and I just thought it's a really fun film. So. Yeah,
that's cool. Pick. That's absolutely cool. And there we have it for another week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and click on the little bell notification to be notified of when the next video is up. Do you have anything else to add, my young man over there, Master Lazarus?
Enough said, cuz.
Enough said. There we have it. Don't forget to check yourself.
Before you wreck yourself.
No, you wreck yourself.